I'm Earl Stuart. I welcome you to Earl Stuart on Cars Mystery Shopping Report. This is Wallace Volvo Stuart. Wallace is a chain. He used to be part of AutoNation a long time ago, and he retired from AutoNation and built another group of dealerships up. Back in 2012, it used to be a Swedish company, Volvo. Everybody thought of it as a Swedish car, and now it's a Chinese company. Another interesting fact before I get into the actual report is that there's tariffs now being Chinese companies are being charged a tariff to sell cars in this country, and Volvo, by the way, has found a way out of this, interestingly enough, and they found a kind of an obscure law made back in the 1800s, believe it or not, about taxation and tariffs, so they're exempt. So this particular Volvo, owned by a Chinese company, are not having their prices jacked up because of a tariff on Chinese companies. They got the exemption. So here we are in Stuart, Florida, a little bit north of Palm Beach County and Martin County, Florida. Wallace Volvo Stuart. Speaking in the first person as if I were Agent Lightning, I arrived at the Volvo dealership in the afternoon and immediately spotted a salesman inside looking out through the showroom window. I parked my car, strolled over to a vehicle that caught my eye, a beautiful XC60 with an MSRP of $53,105. Next to the window sticker was an addendum. I mean, we see this today almost all the time. Now, an addendum not being a factory item, but a dealer item added next to the Monroney label. This addendum had additional $1,797, almost $2,000 extra added over the MSRP, which was $54,902. They had on there $999 for Southeast Regional Adjusted Market Value. Sounds very official, doesn't it? Southeast Regional Adjusted Market Value. Custom pinstripes for $199, way more than what pinstripes really cost. A Wallace protection package of $599, and who knows what that entails, but it's fluff. It's ways to mark up a car, and that's the addendum label. $1,797 markup over the $54,902. To my surprise, there was suddenly a guy standing behind me, arms crossed. I turned around. He flashed a friendly smile, reaching out his hand and introduced himself as Jason. Curious about the car, I asked Jason if it was part of the manager special I'd seen online. I checked online and found the Wallace Volvo dealership, and they had a manager special. But he said no. They sold the last one just yesterday. If you were going to be suspicious, you'd think that might be bait and switch, may or may not. Another salesman chimed in mentioning that sometimes it takes a couple of days for sold cars to come off the website. Well, it shouldn't take that long, but some businesses are just sloppy, and it could be the case. I told him I was interested in this vehicle either way. Jason suggested we head inside so he could make a copy of my license and get some more info. Once that was sorted, he grabbed the keys and a license plate, and off we went back to the car. He explained a bunch of features, but I could tell he wasn't entirely confident. When I asked about the warranty, the salesman hopped out of the car to check the window, the window sticker. So now I know he's not totally versed. When he got back in, he admitted he was still getting used to the brand. He had only been here for 3 weeks after selling Audis before. So turnover is not uncommon, and oftentimes you have a salesman that just doesn't quite seem on to what's going on, and chances are he's only been there a short time. Jason shared a bunch of things with me. Volvo cars had a mild hybrid set up to help the environment rather than just gas mileage. The seats were certified by a chiropractor. I didn't realize that. Volvo says their seats are certified by Chiropractor Association. It's super comfortable. And they have, I didn't know this either, they have a second key fob, and it's orange, and they can actually set the speed limits on your key fob. Interesting. I'm not sure why you would want to do that, but...
In case you have a young teen
teenager.
going to drive your car, right. You let them have the other key.
Yeah, they get the orange.
And they can only do 55 miles an hour.
Hey, I love that. That's a great idea. And then, lastly on this list of features and benefits that Jason's telling me about as I'm shopping, there was this factory air filtration thing for the air conditioning called Clean Zone Filtration with HEPA air filters. I guess all cars have that, don't they?
HEPA. Actually, most cabin filters are just a simple paper filter. Then you can get activated charcoal, but HEPA filters, those are going to be expensive to replace. But
so
they certainly be healthier.
Those are good things, good features and benefits. Volvo, it's got a quality image in my mind, and I think Consumer Reports gives it a good rating, so it's a good car. A lot of people don't realize it's manufactured, is owned by a Chinese company. We then went on the test drive, and Jason seemed a bit uneasy as a passenger. I jokingly asked if my driving was making him nervous, and he laughed it off, mentioning he'd ridden shotgun in NASCAR before. Well, that's interesting. For some reason, he pointed out that the gas tank was on the other side because it's a European car. So it's still manufactured in Sweden, but owned by a Chinese company. Back at the dealership, he asked what I thought of the car. I told him I really liked it and asked if he could break down the numbers for me. We headed back inside to his desk way in the back. He filled out some paperwork, handed it to me, and asked for my signature at the bottom. It was a commitment that I'd buy today if the numbers made sense. Now, I just don't like that. I mean, car dealers are the only business I know that does that, but you sign this worksheet, which is not an official document anyway. Legally, I'm sure there's no obligation. It's to psychologically obligate you, and I just don't like that stuff. I mean, just you tell me what the good points about the car and the price of the car, let me make a decision. Don't pressure me in saying that I'll buy the car today if it's everything I expected it to be. Why would I buy the car? I want to shop and compare price. It's just the way a lot of car dealers do that. I'm not picking on Wallace Volvo. A lot of car dealers do that. I considered declining signing it, and if you did, they wouldn't insist, I promise you. But I ended up signing and told him I had to leave soon for a doctor's appointment. He wondered if I could just come back after the doctor's appointment, but I insisted on going through the numbers now. So off he went, over to the sales manager's desk, the game, back and forth, leaving me sitting there. He came back after about 8 minutes with a pricing sheet. And of course, we know what that is. That's the worksheet. And the worksheet says it's not an official document, and it's not a legal document, and you can't hold the dealership to what's there because it's not a legal document. Bottom line is reiterating what they told me before, but he walked me through the sheet showing how the price matched the MSRP on the window sticker. So here's a real pleasant surprise, and this surprised me. They didn't charge me any of the add-ons, and they gave me a $750 discount. Why the salesman didn't mention this before, I don't know. He was new, only been there 3 weeks, and maybe it was just an oversight on his part, but why have the addendum there? And for a few minutes, I'm believing I'm going to have to pay, was it almost $2,000?
Yeah.
More for all this junk, but they took that off without even me asking, and gave me a $750 discount. So here we are. Here's a new car today, being sold for $750 below MSRP. Very rare. So you Volvo intenders, you Volvo fans out there, Wallace Volvo is selling this Volvo for $750 below MSRP. I thanked him for his time. He handed me his handwritten business card because he was new, hadn't had the cards printed up yet. Stood up, shook hands, and I made a quick exit. I called my daughter, who was waiting in the car, and urged her to get in the passenger seat so we could get out ASAP. As I backed out of the parking spot, suddenly there was a guy knocking on our window trying to ask me questions. So they did come out. She opened the window just enough for them to give her his card, and I told them I was in a hurry, and we drove off. So they were both laughing as they drove away. Anyway, there's a mystery shopping report that started out typical or maybe even bad, with a big fat addendum and a possible bait and switch, and it turned out to a pretty good deal. I'm thinking for a $750 discount for any car today sounds pretty good, and on this Volvo, it sounds good. And that was not the door price. And so there we are. We need to vote on this.
For me, I'm going to say an A.
Nancy?
I give him an A.
Yeah, I tell you, I got to give them an A too. I don't think we have any Volvo dealers on our list, and now we have one. To buy a car today at a $750 off MSRP, that's just really shocking. We've been talking for how many years now? Don't buy a new car. Don't buy a new car unless you have to. So finally, we can say, we know for Volvo, if you want to buy a new Volvo, buy one from Wallace of Stuart in South Florida. Hi, this is Earl Stewart. Thank you for watching this video. If you would like to be notified of new videos that we post to our YouTube channel, simply click on the subscribe button and the bell icon in the lower right-hand side of the screen.